Hello, and welcome to Disrupt Your Now, the show for entrepreneurs who are ready to shake up their life and their business. Today we have Marklyn Johnson. Hey, Marklyn, welcome to the show.
What's going
Y'all,
on? How you doing?
y'all are going to love this. Marklyn is an author, comedian, and motivational speaker, and he's the author of two books. I'm going to read it to make sure I get it right. Lessons from a Shit Talker, and I'm just going to say the word. I love it, and Facebook conversations, the good, the funny, and the ugly. Yeah. And his motto is my story can be your story if you apply persistence and consistency. And I'll tell you what, Marklyn, I think the consistency is the big one.
It is, and the biggest thing is when you say that, consistency is even harder for the person that says that you need to be consistent.
Yeah. Because you can be persistent, but do a whole bunch of different things. Okay, but I'm getting off track. I want you to give the audience some of your background, how you got to where you are today, and especially because I know that you've mentioned that you were a lost soul who found your purpose. But
Yes, and forgive me for those of you out there. I'm still adjusting to the seat. I've had a weird day yesterday and this whole entire week. But long story short, when you're in high school, they always tell you what you have to do. This is
yeah,
what you have to do. You've got no choice. This is what you should be doing. This is how you should be doing it. And I personally, I really didn't ever, nothing clicked. I really was not into sports. I mean, I love sports, but I wasn't into it. I wasn't into the academia.
hmm,
And it's funny, the book, I'm gonna shamelessly plug this book all
go
day.
ahead. Yeah.
90 pages of fire, actually 100 pages of fire. I've been a shit talker my whole entire life. And people always shut up and get a job. Shut up and get a job. I personally never saw myself working a 9 to 5, and I tried it.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something. I knew early on working for other people was complete a waste of time.
Yeah.
But I had no direction. So I shut up and I ended up going to school at DeVry College of Technology. And I graduated and I got several jobs. I spent since 2002, I spent 20 years in and out of jobs. 3 years here, 4 years there, 3 years here, 4 years there. None of those jobs ever fed my soul. None of those jobs were ever anything that I was really going to enjoy doing. One day I saw a guy, motivational speaker, and I'm like, I could do that. I knew I could. I knew something inside of me said I could do that.
Yeah.
But also, I knew I needed to find who I was as a person. I think a lot of people don't know who they are as a person. Facebook had started becoming big, and everybody else was posting on Facebook and posting out the most BS. Hey, look at my kids. Look at my family. And I'm like, really? Okay, we about to get into it. I started posting my real thoughts. And I'm a nut job. If you listen close enough, you can hear the nuts rattling in the head. I decided that I was just going to share my truth. And if you're offended about it, be offended.
Yeah.
And I realized that I can make people talk. I realized I had the gift, the gab, serious or not. At the time, I also started doing video a little bit. And this man, his name is Shed G. He's the stunt double or the stand-in for Tyler Perry for the Medea movies.
Oh my God, I love Medea and I love
Yes.
Tyler Perry. Cool.
So in a small way, he took me underneath his wing, and he was on the radio when I said it would be great to be on the radio.
Mhm.
I believe people need to hear my voice. I do. And I started podcasting and I started working with him and doing stuff here and there. And then the next thing you know, I jumped on stage. Let me tell you, when you jump on stage, when you attend a comedy show, don't ever think that anybody can do that.
Yeah. That's gotta be hard.
Even the worst comic is better than people that don't do it at all.
Mm-hmm.
And there's people out there that are comics that are horrible,
Yeah.
that have done it. But if you stick to it and you stand at it and you do it for let's say you do stand-up comedy for 6 months, right?
Mm-hmm.
Really put an effort in, go to mics all the time. You're still head and shoulders better than the average person walking through the door, right? So I did that. Then I moved back to Jersey. And the comedy thing didn't kick in. Didn't. But when I moved back, I said, I'm not going to work a real job unless I have to. I'm not.
I can relate. Yeah.
And I went to Connecticut School of Broadcasting, graduated from there, ended up getting a job in August of 2017 at New Jersey 101.5, which is the New Jersey station. That's where I live.
Okay.
I worked there for a year and a half. And then in the middle of that, I ran into a guy that I had known from high school who's in Hollywood production.
Mm.
Hey, man, I see the stuff you're doing. I think it's great. And I said, yo, I see what you're doing, and I would love to be a part of it. He brought me in, put me underneath his wing, taught me about production. And I realized at that point, I realized I was a producer.
Okay.
I had been doing stand-up here and there, but I was a producer. Now, all the time, I still been doing stand-up. All this time, I still been doing stand-up.
Mm-hmm.
Next thing you know, I went on a show. It was in August of 2017. I went on stage for I started at New Jersey 101.5 in August of 2015. August 2017, I did Big Ten comedy show. A friend of mine, his name is Gordon Baker Bone, gave me an opportunity to do the Big Ten comedy show. And I heard people laugh at my jokes.
Mm-hmm.
I prepared, but I didn't really prepare, but I pulled it out and people came to see me. And my friends were like, wow, you're really good. You really know what you're doing up there. And that's just, hey, you didn't look like you didn't know what you were doing. And one of my friends from high school that hadn't seen me in a long time was in the audience, and she said the same. She was like, you look real comfortable up there. I said, well, it's called practice.
Yep, that's right.
Jumping on stage, maybe the jokes weren't coming fast enough, because when I watch it back, I still kind of tinkle with it. But, I said, there's something to this. So I started doing comedy mics all the time in New York City. 3-4 times a day.
Wow.
3-4 times a day.
Dang.
That took for 6 months, jumping on mics. Mm-hmm. I got good really fast. Now, the whole entire time, I've been writing Lessons from a Shit Talker. Sorry, I turned it the wrong way.
Yeah, that's all right.
Writing this book the whole entire time.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know how you are about talking about marijuana or anything.
Oh, I'm good with talking about anything.
Okay,
so you go for it.
I took a plane ride in 2019, 2019, and I took an edible. It was a 5-hour flight, and that's how you ended up again with Lessons from a Shit Talker, written in 5 hours.
Oh my God.
In 5 hours, I wrote this book. Great reviews on Amazon. Go check it out. Mm-hmm. So my journey's been one of, I know what I want. I know what I got to do. Mm-hmm. All the while, I was also doing podcasts here and there, doing street interviews, jumping on stage. August is a weird month for me. Last August, I jumped on stage at Broadway Comedy Club and I won a weekend pass. They have this thing called the Industry Room. If you get it, you win. You get 2 months residency at a Broadway Comedy Club in New York City. I got the weekend pass. Nice. Now, understand, some people are going to say, but you didn't win. Here's the thing. I still got a weekend pass.
Yeah. That
means I'm pretty decent at telling jokes and making people laugh.
Yep.
I realized at that point, because a friend of mine went the next week, and I know he's funnier than me, he didn't get it. Mm. The critique from the man was, you're comfortable on stage, you know what you're doing, you know what you're doing with yourself, You just got to learn to write better jokes.
That was your feedback or for your friend? Yours.
The
Okay.
feedback from me.
Uh-huh.
He said, pay attention to what I'm telling you.
Okay.
You have to get better at joke writing. Don't change anything else. So
Okay.
who I am on stage works.
Yeah.
Now it's about bringing it all together. So in December of December of last year, December 9th, I headlined my first show. I did a 30-minute stand-up. It was a birthday show because my birthday is in December. And I had about 30 people in the audience, maybe a little under 30 people.
Mm-hmm.
Wowed everybody.
Well, that's good.
Wowed people that hadn't seen me in 2 years. I came to one of the shows before the pandemic kicked in.
Mm-hmm.
They were shocked. They were like, wow, you're really good. Comics that have been performing with me that saw me pull it all together were like, wow, okay, this is going to be a guy that we got to, this is what we're going to have to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
My name, as most people see there, is going to say, it says Mr. Direct. And as one of my, my mentors in the game, his name is Mike Marino. When he introduces me, he's like, his name is Mr. Direct because that's what his comedy is, very direct.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe in puns. I don't believe in misdirects. My comedy is straightforward. Like, you and I are about the same age. God bless you. You look like you're about 35.
No, I think I'm older than you.
I don't know. You look like you're about 35.
I'm 61, so I don't know how old you are.
Okay. Oh, she said, see, woman's never supposed to tell her
Oh,
age.
I don't care though. See, Marklyn, I say it because I want other people to stop being ashamed of their age. Because I'm like, hello, what year would you want to give up to be younger?
Yeah. So long story short, I just developed this new joke. I don't mind sharing it with you guys. You guys are just going to get the premise of it.
Okay.
So they always wonder why Generation X people are so screwed up in the head. And I tell them, you do realize we grew up on stalking music, right? And people would be like, nah, what are you talking about? Like, we grew up with stalking music as being normal.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll prove it to you. Everybody our age loves the movie Say Anything, right? What did he do in Save Anything? After he had relations with the girl, he took the song In Your Eyes, went to her house, and with the radio, blasted it at her door. In your eyes. Now, understand, people, it sounds good because it's a nice melody, but he's basically like obsessed with the girl.
Mm-hmm.
Today, they would say he's a creep, stage 5 clinger, and you need to run. It gets even better. Ronnie Millsap sings a song, There Ain't No Getting Over Me.
Oh, yeah, I remember
In
that.
the song, he says, I'll be the bill that you forgot to pay. Like the whole, I forget the rest of it, but basically it's like, no matter what you do, you ain't going to get over me.
Yeah.
Ronnie Millsap was blind. Do you imagine he had assistants in order to stalk a woman to write a song like that? That was a #1 hit. On the ID channel, this is the best part. A man strangled his wife to death. I'm not making this up. Take a guess what the wedding song was. Every Breath You Take.
Oh my God.
That was her last breath.
Wow.
But we grew up on stalker music.
Yeah, that's true. I never thought of that.
So when they wondered, this younger generation is like, you guys are screwed up. I can't believe you guys are crazy. We grew up on stalker music.
Mm-hmm.
Stalker musics were #1 hits, blasted on every radio station, Casey Kasem, Top 40.
Uh-huh.
We were listening to those songs and thinking it was normal to be that obsessed over someone.
Yeah.
Now, I ain't going to say the rest of the joke, but keep going.
Well, I was going to say my father was blind, so I can just imagine though. Ronnie Millsap could do a bunch of stuff I'm sure you didn't think he could do.
Well, I mean, you know,
That's totally off topic.
a lot of people that lose their, if you lose a sense or whatever, your skill set and other things is just
Yeah,
enhanced.
that's right.
So
Yeah.
he was a genius songwriter. So I give him credit. It's still a stalker song.
I know it is. It is a stalker song. And now every time I hear songs from that era, I'm going to be listening for that because I can remember so many right off the top of my head. That's good.
If you think about it, you ready?
Yeah.
Hold on. Well, you can walk out on me tonight if you think that it ain't feeling right. But darling, there ain't no getting over me. Well, you can say that you need to be free, but there ain't no place that you can say that you want to be free, but there ain't no place that I won't be. Think about that for a moment.
Yeah.
Today, if some guy said that to a girl, like, I don't care where you go, I'll be there. Stage 5 clinger.
Yeah.
This is how they got the ID channel from the stalking music of the 1980s.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. No wonder.
Crazy.
Well, no wonder y'all Gen Xers are so crazy because I'm a boomer. So I could just be a boring old boomer.
You boomers are worse than us. So I don't want to hear it.
I know.
So that's my story. That's basically how I came about it. I really do think there's a lot of things in that book that I plug. If you know what you want, you have to be willing to go for it. You have to be willing to sacrifice for it. When we talk about disrupting your life, like, you know, disrupt your life now and disrupt what you want to do to become an entrepreneur, there's going to be risk. There's going to be things that you're going to have to take advantage of. Right now, I'm not working. I have projects that are coming in that are paying me a little bit of money, but I'm not working.
Yeah.
So I got to find a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here, a little bit there. It's not easy. And, you know, even today, while I was, you know, a little out of it, I still took the time to register myself to do voiceovers. A friend of mine hired me to do a voiceover. I didn't think I would get it. She coached me through it, and it, you know, it paid $250.
Yeah, 250 is 250.
It is. So I registered with voiceover.com, and I just got invited to do 2 auditions.
Oh, wow, that's great.
So, you know, again, I've always had these talents, but people told me not to follow these talents because in reality, what I believe is when people try to talk you out of following your dreams, people don't have dreams of their own.
Yes. Yeah.
So we call them dream killers, but it's not their fault. They were taught not to dream.
Yeah.
They were taught, you know, shut up, take a job, and just be quiet.
Check off the boxes.
That's it.
And when it's people who are your friends and family, there's also the fact that they want to protect you and they think that, you know, that you're not doing the right thing. You remind me so much of myself because I tried the corporate world. I had a degree in accounting. I worked in the corporate world. And if you look at my LinkedIn, even after I owned my first 2 businesses, literally my whole career was 2 to 2.5 years. Every job, the max was 2.5 years. I was gone. First business I started, I sold in 2.5 years.
Hold on for a second. And this is, I do interviewing too, so I'm gonna tell you to back up on this part. Say what you said again. 2.5 years.
Yeah, 2.5 years.
Can't, and this is the reason why I want to motivational speak to people, especially kids. But I'm also going to work with teachers and adults too. If you can't maintain a job longer than 2.5, and I would say 5 years max.
Yeah.
If you can't maintain a position longer than 5 years, it's not for you. And you need to get out of it.
Yeah.
And the thing is, even entrepreneurs that are struggling, they'll at least try it for 2 years and say, hey, I tried it for 2 years, but now I got to find another thing. And a lot of people think entrepreneurs are sort of suffer from ADHD because sometimes their stuff advances, right? And I always tell people my stuff didn't change. I knew what I wanted to do. So now the goal is I've got a 3rd book coming out. I'm working on being a public speaker, and at night I'm going to do comedy. So they slowly, if you believe in what you want, and that's, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I'm saying,
no, it's fine.
you got to realize and be able to be alert and aware of your situation.
Yeah.
So I was tired before I got on here, but now you can see how much energy I got.
Yeah.
I was meant to talk. I was meant to do this stuff. If someone called me right now and said, yo, I got a 10-minute spot, do you want to do it? I would drag.
Hell yeah.
I would drag to get there. And then when I would get there, I would make a whole 10-minute set about me being tired.
Yeah.
And doing stuff while I'm tired, you know?
Uh-huh.
So it's, if you're doing something that doesn't feed your soul and give you energy, it's not for you.
Right.
But we've got people that do jobs that give them nothing for 20, 30 years, and then they're angry.
And then they're like, someday I'm going to do whatever. And I'm like, you don't know. So what I did, my first two businesses, started them, sold them, you know, and they were successful, but I realized they weren't for me. But then in 95, I discovered the web. I ditched my CPA license. I went all in on web development and business strategy. Oops. I've been doing it for 26 years now. And it just goes to show you that, and I mean, I can use my accounting in it because it's part of the business consulting that I do, but that's not what I wanted to do. So you just remind me of myself so much because of the short thing while you're finding yourself. And so many entrepreneurs are like that. And when we're growing up, we don't know how to find ourselves because we're not encouraged to pursue things. Or if we are, you know, we're encouraged to, you know, be in band or sports or whatever, but it's still within your lane. You know, they're not really encouraging you to just go crazy and figure out what you like.
Here's the weird part about it that I love saying to people. I wrote 2 books. So public speaking, I've already upped my value public speaking.
Yeah.
I'm a twice published author, right?
Uh-huh.
So now it gets better. When you go and charge people for, you know, video editing or for audio editing, even on a basic level, doing a podcast like you're doing right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
The minute you tell them, oh, well, that's going to cost you $500, they look at you like you're crazy. Mm-hmm. And then you go show them, no, do you realize people get paid $80,000 to do exactly what you want me to do?
Yeah.
I'm charging you $500. So unfortunately, oddly, I developed skills. Like I developed skills that have high dividends on a replay. So my whole skill set is based around, it's going to cost you money if you want me to do it.
But that's great because you know yourself, so many people, when they're trying to get started, they're like, I'll do it for free. Or they'll do things for so cheap because they don't have the self-confidence. They don't think they're worth it.
Somebody contacted me the other day and I said, it's $250. They were like, what? And I said, I don't do anything unless it's $250. And they're like, what? And I go, $250, period. Because if you do the numbers, what's $250 times 20? Because you figure you work 20 days out of a month, right? Mm-hmm. $250 times 20, I can pay my bills.
Yeah.
If I'm shortchanging it underneath there, and here's the thing, I thought about it, and my friend was like, oh, you should do voiceovers. And I thought about the numbers I was getting voiceovers. Okay, I do 100 here, I do 100 here, I do 100 here. If I do 10 voiceovers, that's $1,000.
Yeah.
But I could do, the funny part is, I could do 3 or 4 voiceovers at $100 a pop in one day.
Yeah, true.
I might not see him for another 3 days, but there's $250. I also do trivia. So while I'm pursuing it, because I have these high-end skills, I'm able to go someplace and say, well, yeah, it cost me $250. It's going to cost you $250. Do you know what you're getting? And I said this to someone and they were like, no, what am I getting? And I go, I produce shows for 200 plus people. And I go, and I said, public speaking, that's $5,000.
Uh-huh.
And they're like, what? And I go, public speaking, 200 people in an audience, it's $5,000 for 1 hour.
Yeah.
1 hour. That's it. And my friend looked at me and goes, so you mean to tell me you could go out to an audience? And I said, if they hire me to motivate them, which my story is motivating by itself, right? They hire me and they want me to motivate. And I want you guys that are listening to understand this. My dream is to walk into a corporation that hires me to motivate their staff and they hand me a check of $20,000.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna etch out their name, and I'm literally gonna post it on all my social media pages, and I'm gonna say, this is what a dream is about. I'm not showing you this check to brag. This was my focus.
Yeah.
My focus was to one day walk onto the stage and watch one of the guys, before you walk on, the guy gives you the check.
Mm-hmm.
You go do your dirt, you come off. Again, you take the picture and you're like, I'm not bragging. But how nice does it feel to know now that I've gotten one check for $20,000, anybody else that comes to hire me knows they better come with money.
That's right.
And anybody that I don't charge them that amount, they know that I'm giving them a gift.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
Because I didn't dream about this. And then when it came to, like I said, when I saw the guy public speaking, I knew innately I could do it.
Yeah.
Well,
and for anybody out there who thinks $20,000 to speak, oh no, he's right. I know many people that get paid that and more. So yeah, if y'all think
Steve Harvey makes $50,000 a pop.
I love him
because he does Family Feud, and because of $50,000.
Wow.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Well, I was going to say, and I'm sorry for interrupting this, but you mentioned trivia. Tell us what you're doing with trivia.
So what I'm doing with trivia, because I do stand up.
Yeah.
And sometimes, I can't afford to go into New York City every night.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to do is get bars or get apartment complexes to hire me. Okay. And I'll do a trivia night and I'll mix some of my comedy into it.
Oh, okay. That sounds fun.
So I could do a quick stand-up, 5-10 minutes. Mm-hmm. Hey, my name is Marklyn, Mr. Direct Johnson. I'm a stand-up comic, and I'm here for trivia night. No, I'm not here for date night. I'm not here to hook you guys up. This is not what it's about. We're here for trivia. Mm-hmm. We're not going to be taking guessing games about who's what. We're just here for trivia. Stuff like that. Just mess with them a little bit, do 10 minutes and say, and that also lets them know I'm a comic. So be careful what you say to me, because I might snap back with some one-liners, Yeah. So, and again, I'm doing that because I have the equipment and I have the skill set to do it. One of the things about being an entrepreneur is a lot of people don't realize the skill sets that they have.
Yeah, for sure.
I have too many skill sets. I can edit video. I can edit audio. I could do voiceovers, which, voiceovers are a little bit better for me to be doing. Most of my stuff is all about speaking. It's built around me speaking. I was born and raised to be a speaker.
Uh-huh.
And that's what's innately again, you saw how tired I was when I answered.
Yeah.
When I came on. Mm-hmm. And now you're like, where did the energy come from?
No, I know. I'll be like that with my show during the day. I'll be like, I'm so tired. I don't have time, blah, blah, blah. And then once I get on, I'm having so much fun. And then after the show, I'm like wound up. And I'm
going to do 2 voiceovers after this. I'll be up for the next hour and a half. Yeah. Guess what I'm going to do?
Well, tell us some more about your background, because you were saying, your story. And I know that you mentioned about your dad and the lessons that your dad taught you and that you wish that you had listened more, which I know we're all like that.
My dad was an educator. He was a gym teacher, but he was an educator.
Okay.
And it's a funny story about my dad. My dad used to always yell at me for grades. Mm-hmm. You need to get A's and B's and blah, 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 blah. And when he passed away, he kept some of his old report cards. And my dad used to get B's and C's and D's.
Oh, funny.
No D's, just B's and C's. No D's, just B's and C's. Yeah. And now I'm like, now I understand why he was so obsessed. Like, even if you see your kid doing as well as you, but, my dad is old school. He didn't understand an artist's mind. Mm-hmm. And I have an artist's mind. I'm a creative person, hence I can produce. If somebody asks me to produce their show, my brain goes into, okay, what do we got to do for an entrance? Who can I contact to create an entrance for your show? So like Disrupt Your Now. I would ask you to give me some information about it. I would go to my cousin that's a songwriter and I would say, hey, we need a little bit of an tempo. I would produce that for you and get that back to you. So now you got to, entrance. See how like when I talk about production, my brain goes into overdrive. I just love it. But my dad wasn't like that. My dad was old school. My dad was like, shut up and get a job. That's it. Shut
Yeah.
up, get a job, put a roof over your head. That's all you should be doing.
Right.
And unfortunately, that's what a lot of parents did because that's all they understood. Especially black parents. And some people might get on your case and say whatever. But growing up as a black child in a white community in the 80s, in the 90s, it's really don't disrupt it. If you weren't around the entertainment business, don't disrupt it. Go do something else because they don't know how to get you in there. And if you're not, and unfortunately, I wasn't always a self-motivated person, and I still struggle with that.
Yeah.
That's one thing that people don't understand about entrepreneurship. You know, they say you got to be a self-starter. I would say the most important thing is you've got to want it.
Yeah.
The self-starting is a struggle, and you'll get to it, but you've got to want it. You've got to want it. If you say, I'm going to build a car, you've got to want to build a car. Mm-hmm. Even if over the next 2 years, you're just buying the parts little by little. Because some people will say, well, if I want to build a car, I got to buy all the parts today. That's not how entrepreneurship works. Entrepreneurship becomes in when you say, I want to build that car. So over the next 2 years, I'm going to decide what the car is, and I'm going to decide how I want to build the car. Do I want to refurbish it back to what it looked like originally? Do I want to update it and give it some updated flair to it? That's entrepreneurship, because 20 million people already thought about doing what you did.
Yeah.
So I'll explain it to some of you guys like this. A lot of my comic friends wait until they're a big name to get a t-shirt. Mm-hmm. That's when I'll sell t-shirts. I have t-shirts now. I have books now. Any show that I'm in, I take my books and my t-shirts with me. And hey, if I sell one, I still sold something.
That's right.
When I produce the show and I'm the host, I have a whole table, t-shirts and books out. Mm-hmm. If I sell five t-shirts, 25 a pop, 3 books, whatever, I still did well. Why? Because not only do I have the dream of being bigger and better, but I also have the entrepreneurial spirit where I'm going to make money off of what I'm talking about. And everybody that's read my book has always complimented me and said, that book is some shit. And I'm like,
I got to read it.
You haven't read it? Did I send you a copy?
No, you didn't. I was planning on buying it on Amazon, and
don't buy it.
Okay.
Email me your address. I will send you a signed copy.
Oh, okay. I'll send you one of my, I have 2 books. I'll send you one of those too. So we'll email each other.
You're going to get 2 books, just so you know.
All right, cool.
So, and that's the thing. Something like this, the people that watch your show, they get curious. So you all of a sudden, and I'll send you the JPEG and everything, and you could use it. They get curious. They want it. They want to see it. They want it. It's there. Mm-hmm. It's, some people are a little scared about the title, but the title is intentional. Yeah. Even at your age, in our age together, what did we always say about the little kid that was talking shit? He's just talking shit. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
Well, that person talking shit could probably teach you some lessons if you're ready to receive the lesson. Mm-hmm. And that's where I came up with the title. And that's what I think in life, people have to listen to what they hear in their head. I might not, I hate to say it because they say don't talk bad. I'm not looking to be the next Dave Chappelle. Mm-hmm. I'm going to have an hour special. I don't know if it's going to be on Amazon, Netflix, HBO. I'm going to get an hour special.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's going to happen, but it's going to happen. That said, I also want to be noted for being a motivational speaker. And people, man, he can make you laugh at night, and during the day, he can make you quit your job and follow whatever dream you have. Mm-hmm. Because at the end of the day, if you're not vying for what you want, you're dead if you don't have any dreams.
Yeah.
And I hate to say that, they talk about zombies. Zombies is the average person that just walks around in life and has no passion about anything.
Yeah, that's sad, isn't it? I can't even imagine being like that.
And you know what's weird? They can't imagine us.
I know. Yeah. Yeah.
They can't.
I have so many people that tell me, "Well, I like having a job because I know I go for these hours and I know how much I'm gonna make." And I'm like, "That's what I hate. I hate having a 9 to 5. I hate I work more, way more than those people, but I work when I want, where I want, doing what I want,
I
instead
do
of
not.
feeling like I'm in elementary school again."
I send emails. I take breaks. I
Yep.
go for walks. I still get stuff done.
Yeah.
I do stuff that I'm like, this is going to pay off down the line. But guess what? I move when I want to move.
Right.
I don't wake up at 8:30 in the morning. Well, okay, if I'm motivational speaking and I've got a event to go to, sure, because I signed up for it. Like I scheduled this,
Mhm.
this podcast with you. Yes, fine. But before that, I was literally knocked out on my couch. I did some voiceovers earlier. Okay, I'm a knockout. I ate some food. I'm knocked out. I'm good. I need a rest. I'm tired today because I did 2 mics yesterday. I was supposed to do a mic today, but then when I got your email, I was like, oh, I can't do that. I
Mhm.
gotta go. See what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I knew what I had to do, and I stick to it. Again, it's partly discipline. It's partly discipline, but it's partly what is inside of you to do it. Nobody's ever going to understand what's inside you to do it unless you do it. I recently passed my real estate license.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. So now what do I do? What do I do in the morning? Starting this week or probably next week in the mornings, I wake up and I hang door flyers. That's it.
To get listings?
To get listings.
Yeah,
That's it.
okay.
I hang
Mhm.
door flyers in your neighborhood. You looking to sell a home? I'll sell your home for you. That's
Yeah.
it. That's all I do. What am I
Mhm.
doing while I'm doing that? Running through jokes in my head.
Yeah.
Ooh, this would be great. Something happens to me while I'm hanging door flyers. Ooh, can I turn it into a joke? Where's the motivation behind it? See, everything I think about in my life is about finding a way to make it laughable or a teaching moment.
Uh-huh.
And if you stick to that, meaning you position yourself, your life to be around what you want, like I gave you the example of a car earlier. Okay, it's cool that you want to do your car, but why aren't you hanging around other people that want to do their cars?
Yes, great point.
You have to be around the people that want to do a car like you do,
Mhm. Yeah.
you know, because you're going to learn lessons. Like I used to get mad and say there's only one way to do comedy was to get to a Dave Chappelle level. No, no.
Yeah.
There are people out there that are making $200,000 and $300,000 a week. I mean, a year, and you've never heard their names,
Mhm.
and they're out there every weekend doing comedy shows.
Yeah.
You can do it. Well, I mean, I can do it.
Yeah. Well, and the important thing is, for, like, money and everything else, figure out what you want your life to be and build your business around that. Don't look at somebody else and say, I want their life. Now, if that is the life you want, that's fine because then you can learn from them. But so many people that I end up working with, or they have money, but they're miserable because they built a business based on what everybody else was doing. And then they go, wow, I'm making a lot of money, but I hate this business. This is not the business I wanted. So kind of the same thing for you. You know the life you want to live. You know, you don't want to be another Dave Chappelle, but you know what you want to be.
And, here's the thing. At the end of the day, everyone's like, well, why don't you want to be the next Dave Chappelle? Because he's Dave Chappelle.
Right.
I want to be, when it's all said and done, I want people to be like, yeah, but he was Mr. Direct.
Uh-huh.
You know, I don't need to be Dave Chappelle. I need to be me.
Right.
I don't think the best basketball player don't need to be the next Jordan, the next Kobe, the next LeBron. He needs to be the next him or the first him.
So
It's all
true.
about finding who you are and whatever you're doing and put your stamp on it. You want people to know who you are. You don't want somebody to say you were the Dave Chappelle number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Yeah,
what you're saying is I could imitate Dave Chappelle.
yeah, it's like the cover bands that you make a whole career being a cover band that for like Elvis Presley or what you dress like Elvis and everything. It's like so. I mean,
And here's the thing: you might make a good career out of it,
mhm,
but you were just an Elvis impersonator.
yeah,
What do people know about you?
mhm,
They know that you impersonated Elvis. Is that how you want to be known?
yeah,
You know, the couple of times I went to go speak, the kids always chose me as their best speaker because I don't speak at them, I speak with them.
yeah,
Tell me your story. I want to know what about you so I can help motivate you and get you to where you want to be at. One of the lessons I say is you have to ask for it. I've been trying to speak in my superintendent's office in my hometown area. And again, a lot of people say stop making it about race and stuff like that. As an African American man in this country that lives in a majority white community, it's been hard to get into these white schools to motivate these kids. I could be a stay-at-home mom with a message and they'll welcome me in.
yeah,
No background, no real speaking. But here's a guy I've hosted comedy shows. I've filled in for professional comics that were supposed to run it. I've literally got references for as many times. I've been on Broadway, and I
yeah.
still can't get them to be like, oh, he just wants to motivate kids.
In a school, yeah,
I don't know about that. But a stay-at-home mom can walk in with nothing and they'll be like,
mhm.
oh, sure, come on. Just,
And then
what do you want to tell us, right?
and the
So I
kids
put
are
them in,
miserable.
and she could suck at it, but they're going to give her the opportunity.
Yep.
So I ran into the superintendent this Sunday for Juneteenth. By the way, I think Joe Biden was messing with the black community. The first Juneteenth we really celebrate is on Father's Day. I think that was a straight shot. I think that was shot fired.
Oh no,
I
I
think
didn't
that's
think
funny.
about that.
I think that's funny. I told that in the audience and they started laughing. I'm
I
like,
thought you were going to say something about him falling off the bicycle.
oh, I did a joke about that too. I didn't care. But when I saw her and I said, I'm a motivational speaker. I was born and raised in this town. I believe a lot of kids have given up,
Yeah,
and I want to motivate them to believe in who they are and what they want. And I know if I can get in and get a letter from the superintendent from one school district, it's going to pull the cap off of everything.
yeah.
That's all it takes. And she didn't give me her email and say, oh, here's my email from work. She gave me her personal phone number and said, let's get together and let's do some work.
Oh, good. That's great.
So I've already reached out to my teacher friends. What about, being a teacher is the hardest part. And I've already formed, like what is most of them are talking about. Like I'm putting the work in.
Yeah.
A lot of people are going to say, oh, why are you putting the work in? She just gave you that opportunity. Because here's the deal. Now that I'm on her radar, the first meeting I have with her, so I interviewed 10 teachers. These are the top 3 things that they say they hate. Now her radar is going off like, wow, this guy does his homework.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
And you're serious about it. You're not just coming to talk.
Exactly. So now I put this together and I say to her, I don't speak for anything under 2,500. This is what I'll do to you. You've got 2 middle schools and 1 high school. Let me speak at the middle schools once each, and let me speak at the high school.
Uh-huh.
I'll go from 2,500 to 1,500.
Yeah.
Just give me that opportunity to speak to all 3 schools. Different months. Doesn't make a difference. Business-wise, I look genius. And, you know, community wise, here's a guy that's a professional speaker that came in and killed it in middle school, high school, and he motivated the teachers.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, if I say I want to be a motivational speaker, I got to be willing to make said sacrifice to get in and get what I want.
Yeah.
So why not leverage it to say I need multiples, not one?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Great idea. And you're planning on talking to the kids and the teachers?
She asked,
Yes.
she actually she said, how can we motivate the teachers first?
Yeah.
And part of motivating the teachers, it's time we start motivating the administration.
For sure.
I've already spoken to some of them, and they said part of it is the administration ain't listening to them.
My sister's a teacher.
And so, okay, how do we motivate the administration to start listening? Stop being so fearful of the parents.
Yeah.
And start being fearful of the teachers. Because what happens if the teachers walk out? Most of them are administrative-ended people. They're not ready to teach.
Yeah.
They've walked away. They either never been a teacher or they walked away from teaching because they liked the administrative end of it. So my point is, now that you're in this position, you need to remember what it was like to be a teacher, and you need to give them more tools to be a teacher. If a teacher says, I'm a little bit exhausted, maybe you need to have access to more substitutes. And here's the thing. I don't think that it's not that they can't find substitutes. I think a lot of these school districts are way over the top picky with who they choose for substitutes, especially now with Facebook and social media. And I understand that they've got to look out and look for pedophiles and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think sometimes they're just getting out of hand. Because I remember I signed up to be a substitute teacher, and I got the runaround big time. And everybody that was sitting in the thing with me in the introductory, they were like, yo, they never called you back. I was like, nope, but they need substitutes.
Yeah.
I passed the background check. I'm not a pedophile. There's nothing on with me abusing kids, but because I'm outspoken, and unfortunately, no matter what anyone tells me, as a black male, you are not allowed to be outspoken.
Yeah.
They want you complacent, and they want you to just say thank you, or appreciative, I should say. They want you complacent and appreciative that you're able to make a living.
Yeah.
And I'm appreciative, but I damn sure ain't complacent. I know what I want. And this doesn't only go for black men. Everybody should know what they want. And that's, at the end of this, I don't care what you guys take out of it. I don't care if you're a woman, if you're gay, you're straight, you're black, polyamorous, whatever you identify yourself as. I will say I'm a little confused. You can't identify yourself as a plural when you're a singular. I got that far. I did get that far in English class to understand plurals versus singulars. And it's not a knock on you, but you can't tell me to call you a they when it's only one of you. That's confusing because I only see one of you. So it ain't him. It's only him, her, or that person. How about that? Instead of they, that.
Yeah.
That sounds better.
You know, I have a friend whose son is on the spectrum, and she was telling him about somebody that's non-binary, and she was saying, use the word them. And because he's on the spectrum, you know, very black, and he goes, so if he gets lost in the woods, what do I tell the police? And anyway, and the way he asked, he's like, I don't care. You know, he's fine with, and he's like 18 or 19, but he was worried about, how do I communicate to the police about this person?
Yeah.
You know?
That's right. I went to a party for a 7-year-old, and a 7-year-old boy running around in fairy wings. Threw me off. What am I looking at? What's that little boy? Oh, don't call him. That's them. Huh? What? That's a little boy over there. No, that's them. I said, no, them is plural. How am I ever, if the kid went missing, what am I going to say? They went missing? It's only one of them.
Yeah. And in that situation, you're not trying to be mean. You want to communicate clearly.
I want to understand what I'm saying. So
Hmm.
on that, what I was saying out of that was, no matter who you are, believe in who you are and believe in what you want.
Yeah.
I will say this again. Believe in what you want. It's not going to happen overnight.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen tomorrow. Okay, if I hit the lottery tomorrow, it's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, and I'm expecting a cut if you do. Okay.
I got $1 for you. Don't worry about it. I easily got $1 for you. Not a problem. But
Well, and I think almost everybody has a really hard time understanding what they want for the same reasons that we talked about at the very beginning. I remember when I was younger, I did not think I was creative because I thought of creativity as being an artist, like my aunt was, or musician. And I mean, I was in the band and stuff, but I wasn't a true musician. And I didn't realize until I was well into adulthood that my creativity is the way I think.
yeah,
And I realized that a lot of that came from my father being blind because by osmosis, he did the things he shouldn't have been able to do. And by osmosis, I learned if you bump up against a wall, you go, you're like the Roomba or whatever. You bump up against it, you go
my
another way.
my parents couldn't understand my artistry because they weren't artistic.
Yeah.
So if you're not artistic and your kid's artistic, unless you put your kid in an artistic environment, there's a lot of battles and struggles because your mind is learn your reading, writing, and arithmetic, and his mind is this is some bull. I care less. I'll learn enough that I know that if I take $1 and another dollar, I got $2.
Mhm.
I can read very well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's it. It's art. And the thing is, they're literally trying to get rid of the arts.
I know it's really sad. I mean, most schools don't have band anymore. They don't have art, all these things. I can't imagine.
And I think the reason why they're doing it is because art expands the mind.
Yeah.
You don't, you, most people, even people that call themselves conservatives and are okay with it, most of them that are real comics, actors, you got that way from being in the arts,
Yeah. Yeah.
but you want to watch them destroy it because it cultivates creativity.
Yeah, and it cultivates the ability to think for yourself. Yeah, instead of just checking off the boxes.
Exactly. Checking off the boxes. You know what? Somebody's going to take that term that you just said and turn that into a podcast. Because that's a good term, checking off the
Mhm.
box.
Well,
Because
when
that's
my
what we're doing. That's what a lot of people do. Majority of us in life, that's what we're doing. We're checking off the box.
yeah,
Everything we
exactly.
do is checking. Did you check off the box?
Yeah.
Okay. Move
When
to
I
the next one.
when I was raising my kids, and they're 32 and 34 now, I told them there there are some boxes you have to check off. You've got to play the game, but the rest of your life you can figure out. You don't have to march in this line that everybody does. You
Nah,
know?
you're 100% right. And the crazy part about it is, like I was saying, when you have to do it, is everyone thinks that there's some formula for success and there's not.
Yeah.
You know, if there's people that go on a mic, that go to a mic, and in a year, someone picks up on them and goes.
Mhm.
You know, I get a lot of slack by comics because I tell white jokes. And I
You
always
mean
tell people,
about white people or
I tell,
what?
I don't listen, I tell white jokes because they're funny. I
Oh,
don't
no,
care.
I just was trying to figure out what you meant by white
But most of
jokes.
my every now and then I tell white jokes because I tell white jokes because they're funny white jokes. I don't care.
Oh, okay, but
Like
it's
when
a
you go, like I tell my white friends, when you're having black people over for the first time for a barbecue, don't tell them that you've got great chicken. That shouldn't be the first words.
Yeah,
Like, come on in. You're gonna love this chicken. We don't want to
yeah,
hear that shit.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Excuse, I'm sorry, but it's just in
Oh,
general.
I
Like,
don't care what you say,
I
I'm
make I
here.
make fun of it because we know it's a bullshit stereotype, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And people get in their feelings and in their bunches, and it's like, listen, at the end of the day, it's called having a funny bone.
mhm,
And unfortunately, the hardest thing about comedy now is everybody's so on edge that
yeah,
they can't laugh at themselves.
Uh-huh.
I'm 5'8". I'm 206 pounds, and I struggle. I struggle with my outwardly good-looking black self and my inner Karen. Okay, my inner Karen sometimes comes out in full regale. When I'm out for dinner, I ask for the manager before I refuse to leave a tip. That's the
Yeah.
inner Karen struggling with the outwardly black guy. And when I tell that joke, people be like, "Oh my God, that's hysterical. How did you think of it?" And I'm like, "Because that's how I am.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to leave a tip, but I'm going to call the manager before I don't leave a tip."
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
it's not easy. It's just everyone's on edge. And that's, Dave Chappelle put out something the other day, and a friend of mine sent it to me. Once you do comedy, it's in your blood.
Mm-hmm.
Once you do comedy, it's in your blood. When you start chasing your dream and start following what you want to do, it's in your blood. There's no getting away from it.
Yeah.
You can try. You can do everything in your power you won't. You can do everything in your system to get it out. Won't happen. Because you started something that you love and you have a passion for, and that love and passion will eat you alive if you don't go for it.
Yeah. I have to show you this. My friend said, "Hi, Karen." Hey, Kimley.
She put that on this stream.
Yeah, yeah, on Facebook comments. Yeah.
How are you doing? My name's actually Marklyn. Don't call me Karen now.
She's talking to your inner Karen,
You're talking to the
Marklyn.
inner Karen. The inner Karen says, "Hey, girl."
All right, I've had you for almost an hour. So it doesn't feel like an hour, but I want you to give them like your biggest piece of advice before we leave. And I know you've said several things, but is there anything else that you want to stress or anything that you haven't said that you really want them to walk away with? And then I want you to tell them exactly how they can find you, how they can buy your book, how they can book you to speak, all that good stuff.
Well, number one, if you really believe in something, think of a horse in a race. A horse has blinders.
Mm-hmm.
A horse can only look forward, can't see left, can't see right. When you're following your dream, you have to have blinders. When you're following your dreams, you have to understand your dream is not what you think the outcome is going to be, is not what the outcome is going to be. I'm a great host. Okay, comic. You hire me to host a show, I'll kill. I'll kill so bad, people will ask me, why am I not a comic doing a set? Because I'm good at it.
Uh-huh.
So again, that's what happens when I followed my dreams. That's what I'm able to do. You have to wake up and you have to start. Write it down. This is what I want to be. This is what I'm looking to do. This is how I'm looking to do it. Move towards it. You don't have to get it all done in one hit. And that's the mistake we make. I got to get it all done in one hit. No, you don't.
Yeah.
Get it done once. Get it done twice. Allen Iverson in a game, one time people made fun of him because he said, "You talking about practice." Practice. And what he meant by that was, we're talking about a game time thing, and you're talking about something that happened in practice.
Mm-hmm.
But back up. The way you practice is the way you execute.
Yeah.
So no matter what, put your blinders on and start practicing the way you want to execute. Here, I'll put it to you like this. Start practicing the way you want to execute.
Yeah.
If you are not practicing the way you want to execute, then you don't want to execute. You're done.
Mm-hmm. I want to tell you another thing like that like the racehorse. One of my clients is a NASCAR driver, and we were at an event, and they interviewed him. It was an entrepreneur event, and the speaker interviewed him and said, what do you do when you're in those corners and you're flying, you're going at 200 miles per hour, and of course when you're driving a race car you can't turn your head, you don't have mirrors and all that. He's like, how do you deal with all these cars around you? And he said, I just drive my car. And for
Right.
the entrepreneurs, that was the perfect advice. It's like the horse. Forget about what everybody else is doing, except to the fact that, competition and knowing what you're up against. But instead of spending all of your time trying to be what everybody else is doing and watching what they're doing, focus on yourself and practice, 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 right?
You can't be what everyone else is. You can only be yourself.
Yeah.
That's it. As far as my books, again, it's 2 books on Amazon: Lessons from a Shit Talker, Facebook Conversations, The Good, the Funny, the Ugly. Both books are on Amazon. Tell you, I'm writing a book about racism right now. That one's going to be the one to piss people off.
Oh, well, that's good though.
That's the one that's going to really hit a lot of people in their faces, because as a black man growing up in a white town, I think a lot of people have never really spoken about the point of, as black people, we have to assimilate in and not be seen.
Mm-hmm.
And when we're seen, unless we're dancing, playing a sport, or doing something that they quote unquote approve,
Yeah.
we're not supposed to be seen. And I had so many friends, got along with, drank with, and the minute I started speaking out about my experiences as being black, oh, you're a racist, and stop talking to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I really want to talk about that. That's the new book. I'm 54 pages in. I think I'm going to do another 50 and call it a day. I'm not going to try and get it too long-winded.
Uh-huh.
But it's personal, and I'm going to talk about it. And I'm hoping I could get into a speaking tour on that.
That sounds really interesting. We need to talk about this stuff, whether people agree with you or not. The only way we can learn from each other is to talk about it.
And that's the thing. Too many people are scared to talk about it because they're scared to face the truth of who they are.
Yeah.
I had a friend of mine tell me the other day. I said to her, I said, conservatives hated having a black president so bad that they put up with a guy that lied 38,000 times and literally wanted to overturn the government. But now they're pointing out Joe Biden lies. And she goes, well, I'm conservative and I would have voted for Obama if he was a Republican. And that's the problem.
Yeah.
Somebody's putting a label on him and you're willing to vote for it. And then they go, well, it had nothing to do with race. And I said, you're a white woman in America telling a black person that race had nothing to do with why Donald Trump was voted in. And I said, I hate to break the news to you, but if you didn't have Obama, who was black in a class act, you would have never had this charlatan of an asshole get voted. I'm 49 years old. If Obama never ran and Donald Trump ran the way he ran, he would have never made it. They would have laughed him out of the first primary he ever put his name on. Mm-hmm. But because they hated having Obama so bad, oh, we'll go with it. We'll vote him in. And it's like, are you seriously, like, have you watched the trials at all?
No, I don't have time to.
I've watched it, and it's pretty damning that everybody in his camp told him, you lost.
Yeah.
There's no fake election. There's no fake votes. And here's the thing. I don't think all conservatives are to blame for him. Mm-hmm. What I'm saying is, at some point, the conservative party said, oh, we'll accept the fact that he's a nut job and that he lies and that he wanted to overturn the government. Who cares? And my thing is, I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican. We can't accept this. Mm-hmm. I don't care. We can't accept it. If I suck at my job, fire me.
Yeah.
I believe in that. I'm sorry if I went on a tangent.
Oh, no, that's fine. Hey, I have you on here to say what you want to say.
But at the end of the day, it's just what I was saying about the third book is that I think America really needs a middle-class Black American to really talk about their experiences and say, I'm not some guy that grew up in the hood writing this. I grew up in a majority white neighborhood. I went to a majority white school. My friends are all colors, and I'm probably more friends with. I tell another joke on stage. I'm black, but I'm too black for some white women, and I'm not black enough for some black women. You know, like I'm in that weird conundrum, and I don't hate it. It's just part of who I am, and when you tell the story, it makes people uncomfortable. Because how dare you say a truth that we all know? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm 49 years old. If I don't accept it now, when will I ever accept it?
Yeah, exactly. Say it.
You know, like it's like people get married multiple times before they're 50. And then at 50, they're like, I should have never got married in the first place. Well, you kind of knew that when you were 50. But you knew that when you were in your 20s, but you gave in to the inner thought, I've got to do what everybody else is doing.
Yeah.
No. And that's what when I speak to people, that's what I want to tell them. Live your truth. I don't care what your truth is, unless you want to kill people, then don't live your truth. Lie for the rest of your life.
And don't stalk.
Don't listen to the stalker songs either. But some of the songs they put out today are even worse. But follow your dreams. Follow whatever you want to do. I'm on Amazon underneath Marklyn, Mr. Direct Johnson. I'm also at marklynspeaks.com. That's my webpage. If you want to hire me for speaking, I'm a dynamic speaker. I'm relatable. I'm a dynamic, relatable speaker. Why am I relatable? Because everything I'm telling you is the truth. It's from my heart. And I don't need the bells and whistles and 50 million things. I'm speaking from this right here. And I'm telling you the truth, and I'm giving you a story, and I give you honest feedback. And I'm even willing to sometimes be like, when you ask me a question, I don't know. I don't know. Let's look it up. Let's Google it and figure it out.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's a lot braver to say you don't know than it is to act like you do when you don't.
But if you guys want to pick up a copy, remember, Lisa, send me your email address. Your letter address.
Yeah.
I will actually send it to you overnight. I'll put it in the mail tomorrow or on Friday.
Yeah.
But listen, at the end of the day, we all got to learn to love each other. We all got to learn to laugh at each other.
And we have to learn that we can disagree but still like each other. It does. If we agreed on everything, it would be so fucking boring. Sorry, but
no. Now that you dropped the F-bomb, you effing right. That's right. But no, it is. It's our differences are meant to give us something to talk about. Our differences are meant to give us something to be able to really embrace each other. You've got to embrace your differences.
Yeah.
You know, I tell one of my friends that I love dearly, I went over her house multiple times, had ham, pork,
chicken.
Well, not the chicken. I was eat the chicken.
Sorry.
So she invites me over for Easter one year, and then she goes, "Are you Muslim?" And I'm like, "As many times I've been at your house eating ham and pork, and you ask me if I'm Muslim? Have I ever come to your house wearing a bow tie, offering you bean pie? What the hell's wrong with you?" And then she goes, "Well, I just thought you were Muslim." I'm like, "I've been at your house how many times, and all of a sudden you thought I was Muslim?" But it was funny, just the fact that for her being conscious, I don't want to serve the Muslim guy pork. Well, if that was the case, you screwed me up years ago because he was serving me pork years ago.
I love it.
But that's the funny, and I make fun of her all. I did a show the other day, and I had my table out with my T-shirts and my books. And she's like, "Marklyn, you wrote a book?" And I'm like, "I wrote 2 books. They're right there." And she goes, "When did you write a book?" And I just looked at her and I go, "Gary, is she serious?" He's like, "I don't know, man. Apparently, she don't know that you wrote a book."
She's probably like, "You can write? How didn't you know you can write?
You don't know that you wrote 2 books." And I go, "You might want to tell your racist mom that I'm kind of smart." She fell out laughing in the middle of in the middle of this big event that we're doing. She's on the side and you could just hear her cackling her ass off. And I'm laughing because it's just, we know each other so well. and I don't expose them to all my crazy.
Yeah.
I keep my crazy away from them. You know what I mean? But I can walk in there, like right now, I can go to their house and walk in.
Mm-hmm.
That's family. You know why? We embrace each other's differences. That's what everyone should get. Embrace each other's differences and follow your dreams.
Do that and go to Marklyn Speaks to check out his speaking and other stuff, and go to Amazon to get his books. Thank you so much for joining me tonight, Marklyn. I've had a ball talking with you. Yeah, hold it up. Now hold up the other one too.
I don't know if they're both going to fit in the screen at the same time.
Yeah, there we
go. You guys got to get them. Look, there's one. There's one, and there's two. You got to get them. My beautiful face is on the cover of both of them. Just so you know.
Yeah, so you'll recognize it.
You can't miss this mug. It's recognizable.
Definitely not a face for radio. You have a handsome face that doesn't belong behind the radio.
You know, you're the second or third person to tell me that, and I'm starting to believe it. I'm starting to believe my own hype.
No, I'm serious. Not trying to be whatever, but yeah. All right, we gotta go. It's 10 after 8. I've had you for over an hour, but I've had a blast. I could talk to you all evening.
I'm a talker. Can you tell?
Well, yeah, but I'm a talker too. So you just haven't heard as much of me talking tonight as usual. But thanks for joining me, Marklyn. I've had a blast.
Not a problem.
All right, see ya.
You have a great night, and thank you so much for this opportunity. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
And I'll see y'all next Tuesday. Bye-bye.